My name is Lena Caraway, and I'm 28 years old. Competence is a quiet instrument. You only notice it when someone plays off key. I built my life on muted precision, deadlines that land on time, budgets that balance to the cent, a work calendar with little green check marks marching like good soldiers. I wanted love to hum in the same key, steady, respectful, no stunts. Micah loved a stunt. He texted me at 1:06 p.m. on a Tuesday, right as I was proofing numbers for a quarterly deck. Micah, 30. Hey babe, change of plans tonight. Danielle's coming to trivia. She hasn't been in forever. I stared at the name for a long second. Danielle Avery, the ex, the one he'd dated for 3 years before me. He'd mentioned her once, casually. We're cool now, he'd said, shrugging, like history didn't have weight. I'd taken it at face value because trusting him felt easier than keeping score. That was before she started appearing everywhere. The first coincidence was at the coffee shop where Micah and I spent Sunday mornings. Danielle had been standing in line, head tilted, pretending surprise. Oh my God, Micah, what are the odds? They'd talked for 15 minutes about some trip to Denver, a show they'd loved, how she still couldn't listen to that soundtrack without thinking of him. I'd smiled through it, the kind of polite grin that hurts your jaw. Then she showed up at his gym, then at a friend's birthday dinner, then at trivia night. Always friendly, always too warm. When I finally mentioned it, Micah just laughed. You're overthinking it. Danny and I share friends. Small world, remember? Sure, I said, but it's starting to feel like a world she's determined to live in. He kissed my forehead like I was being cute. Real women don't get threatened by exes, Lena. You're not that girl, right? I told myself to let it go. That night, I stared at the ceiling until dawn, replaying every time Danielle's hand had brushed his arm. 2 weeks later, he invited me to game night. His apartment, his friends, his version of cozy domestic chaos. I brought a bottle of wine and a bag of chips. When I walked in, Danielle was already there, sitting cross-legged on the couch, the seat I always took, helping set up the board. Micah looked sheepish. Oh, did I forget to mention Danielle was coming? She's part of the regular crew. Funny. I'd been to every game night for the past 3 months, and she'd never once been regular. Throughout the evening, she and Micah swapped memories like trading cards. Trips they took, shows they binged, restaurants they loved. Every sentence started with, remember when we... At one point, she laughed so hard, she leaned into him, head on his shoulder. I excused myself to the kitchen, took a breath that burned, and came back with a practiced smile. When the night finally ended, I pulled Micah aside. That was uncomfortable, I said carefully. Why? Because I have a past? Because your past is very present. He sighed. Wow, I didn't know you were so insecure. Insecure? I echoed. Real women aren't intimidated by exes, he said. Maybe you're not ready for an adult relationship. That stung more than I wanted to admit. I said nothing, just gathered my things and left. The next morning, my phone buzzed with notifications. Micah had posted on Instagram. Ladies, find you a man who isn't threatened by your friendships. Real men understand that exes can be friends without drama. Emotional maturity is sexy. Jealousy isn't. His friends were all in the comments, cheering him on. Danielle had commented a heart emoji. I didn't respond. Didn't like, didn't text. Just took screenshots, his caption, her comment, the pile-on of digital applause. That night he called. Babe, why are you being weird? You saw my post? I did. You know it wasn't about you. I just wanted to make a point. What point was that? That we can be secure, open. I'm showing people how healthy relationships look. I almost laughed. You're showing them something, that's for sure. He didn't hear the warning in my voice. You'll see, he said. This will blow over. It didn't. The comments kept climbing. People dissecting our relationship like a case study. Words like toxic, insecure, control freak. I read them in silence. Then something shifted. The anger stopped feeling hot. It cooled into something colder, cleaner. The kind of calm that meant I'd already started planning. Competence, after all, is a quiet instrument. And I'd just decided which note to play next. Micah stopped calling me jealous and started calling me distant, as if a different adjective might make my silence a softer pillow. I let him narrate. It's easier to see the shape of a thing when you stop arguing with it. On Thursday night, I opened Instagram, scrolled past his post and its glittering court of approval, and tapped message on a profile I'd never followed but could identify in a crowd. The clean sunset shots, the monochrome gym mirror, the same throat tilt I'd seen when she laughed on his couch. Lena. Hi, Danielle. This is a little awkward, but I could use your help. Micah's birthday is coming up, and you know him better than anyone. I want to get it right. I watched the 3 dots bounce. It didn't take long. Danielle, oh my God, that's actually really sweet. Sure, he's hard to shop for, lol. Danielle, coffee, I can give you ideas. She suggested a place on 5th where the latte hearts look like they've been diagrammed. Saturday, 10:00 a.m. I typed, perfect. See you there. Then set down my phone and let the quiet settle over the apartment like clean snow. I slept for the first time all week. Saturday morning, the cafe smelled like toasted sugar and rain. Danielle arrived in a cream sweater, the exact temperature of her voice. Pleasant, softly lit. She hugged me like we were sisters-in-law, sat, and unwrapped a scarf with the deliberate care of a woman who likes being watched. I love that you reached out, she said, all teeth. So mature. Most girlfriends get weird about me. I'm not most girlfriends, I smiled. I like efficient solutions. She laughed, already at ease. Okay, so, Micah. Experiences over stuff. He hates clutter. Tickets, concerts, basketball, or that immersive exhibit downtown. He loved when we did that. That's good, I said, filing it away where it couldn't touch me. What about smaller things? Daily rituals? He's a creature of habit, she said, happy to be a subject matter expert. Same gym routine, protein brand, that dumb morning newsletter. He skims and pretends is reading. She leaned in. If you want to surprise him, book the Denver thing. He used to talk about going back. Denver, I repeated, like the word didn't hold us both by the throat. Thanks, this helps. We sipped. I let the quiet stretch, then plucked the thread I'd come for. He's been protective of his phone lately, I said conversationally. Takes it to the bathroom, sleeps with it under his pillow. Normal? Something flickered across her face. Recognition, then satisfaction. That's new, she said quickly, then corrected. I mean, he didn't do that with me. No? I tilted my head. I thought maybe it was just, I don't know, stress. She shrugged. He gets in phases when he's busy, but the phone thing, not really a thing. With me, anyway. I nodded like that was comforting news and watched her fight the urge to add more. People volunteer the most when they think you're already convinced. I let a careful sigh out. Sometimes he seems a little far away. I don't want to misread anything. Danielle put her elbow on the table, conspiratorial. He's complicated, she said, delighted to be generous. We're close. We check in. Purely friendly, she added, too fast. He vents sometimes. About work? I asked, stirring foam I didn't need. And life, she said. And then, because the performance required props, she pulled out her phone and angled it, not quite offering, not quite hiding, a cascade of blue and gray bubbles. Midnight ramps, 1:13 a.m. The stretch into 2:07 a.m. Memes, are you up? A paragraph about a pitch that went sideways, another about how I don't get his humor sometimes, a selfie from his couch I recognized too well. I didn't reach for the phone. I read upside down, the way you read body language. He relies on you, I said softly. We just get each other, she said. Some bonds don't break. I let that land and did not visibly bleed. Honestly, she added, as if she were confessing something charitable. I've told him to give you space. He second-guesses himself with you. He never did with me. Space, I echoed. Good advice. She smiled, perfectly centered in her own narrative. Why did you two break up? I asked, mild as steam. She hesitated, the way a person hesitates before aligning a story to its audience. Different goals, she said. Timing. We wanted different things. He told me you cheated, I said, flat and not unkind. Color rushed her face and then retreated. It was complicated, she said. Ancient history. And now you're friends, I said, letting the word do its own work. Exactly, she said, relieved to be validated. Mature, like your DM. So refreshing. I nodded, then made the smallest pivot. Would you mind sending me a few of those texts? The birthday ideas you mentioned, the exhibit link, any restaurants he still loves? I'd rather not get it wrong by guessing. Oh, her eyes brightened, permission to formalize her expertise. Totally. She forwarded the exhibit, 2 restaurants, and, accidentally or not, the tale of a thread that wasn't about birthdays at all. Late-night check-ins, and I miss how easy we were, from Micah, and a heart that could mean anything until you admit it doesn't. My phone buzzed with each new arrival, documentation landing like soft pebbles in a jar. Thank you, I said. This is generous. Women supporting women, she said, with the unblinking confidence of someone who believes the slogan applies to her. I paid the bill before she could offer. Outside, the sky had cracked open into silver. Danielle hugged me again, longer this time, proprietary in its kindness. Tell him hi from me, she said. I will, I said, and meant it differently than she heard. Micah was on his couch when I let myself in that evening, a streaming menu throwing blue light across his face. He looked up, replaying his own story of us in his head. How I'd come around, how we were fine, how the internet's applause meant anything real. Where'd you go? He asked, casual, possessive. Coffee, I said, setting down my bag. Planning your birthday. Aw, he grinned, relief easing his shoulders. You're the best. I try to be accurate, I said. He patted the cushion beside him. Come here. I stayed standing. What do you and Danielle talk about at 2 a.m? He blinked. A beat. 2. What? Your texts, I said. The long ones. About work, about me. The ones you send after midnight. He forced a laugh. Wow, okay, we're doing this? We're policing goodnight memes now? Memes, I repeated, my voice neutral enough to hold a mirror. She's a friend, Lena. We were together for a long time. She knows me. Sometimes I need perspective. And sometimes you need attention, I said, still gentle. Which one was it when you told her you miss how easy you two were? There it was, the flinch he couldn't hide. You went through my phone? I didn't need to, I said. You left a trail you wanted seen. His jaw worked. She's twisting things. You're taking things out of context. I nodded, then put them back in. He stood, anger shading in where charm ran out. You're reading late-night texts like scripture. It was venting. Adults vent. Adults set boundaries, I said. Children look for parent figures to soothe them. Which are you asking her to be? His mouth curved into something unkind. Real women aren't threatened by exes. Real men don't need them, I said, and watched the sentence hit. He grabbed his phone, as if proof could be conjured, by holding the device harder. You know what? I'm done with this insecurity theater. I'm not cheating on you. I didn't say you were, I said. I said you're being dishonest. That's rich, he scoffed. You accidentally found her texts? I asked for birthday advice, I said. She offered everything else. His eyes widened, a boy caught and reaching for a new game. You met up with her? Yes. When? His voice sharpened. This morning, I said. She was very helpful. Are you serious right now? He stared, betrayed by the wrong person. You went behind my back to meet my ex? I used the front door, I said. You left it open. He laughed once, ugly. So what now? You want me to block her? Make a public statement for your pride? Will that make you feel big enough? No, I said, and felt the answer settle somewhere quiet and irrevocable. I don't want anything from you. He blinked, disoriented at the absence of a negotiation. Then what do you want, Lena? Out, I said, of this triangle you keep drawing and pretending is a straight line. Color rose in his neck. You're throwing away 8 months over texts? I'm stepping away from a stage where I'm being cast as the jealous girlfriend so you can rehearse emotional intimacy with your ex. I picked up my bag. If you and Danielle have unfinished business, finish it. With me, not in the room. His voice softened, strategic. Don't be dramatic. This will blow over. It already has, I said, in the direction of clarity. He took a breath, tried again. Look, hey, let's talk. Sit. I've heard enough, I said, and meant it with a calm I'd earned. At the door, I paused. He looked smaller from there, like a photo picked up at the wrong distance. If she texts you tonight, I said, you won't have to hide it. I'm not choosing her, he snapped fast. I didn't ask you to, I said, and opened the door. I'm choosing me. The hallway was cool and ordinary, the way justice often is. My phone buzzed in my pocket. 3 new messages from a number I'd labeled Avery, Danielle, so I wouldn't forget how names shift when truth doesn't. Had fun. Remind him about that gallery on 8th. He loved it. Also, tell him I found those photos from Denver. He'll die. Girl, you're doing great. He's lucky. Competence is a quiet instrument. Sometimes you play a single note and leave the room. The echo does the rest. I didn't block either of them. Micah's name still lived in my phone like an unanswered question, and Danielle's messages kept arriving like postcards from a delusion. He texted me last night. I think he misses you, though. Haha. And you're such a catch. Don't let our little triangle ruin a good thing. Our little triangle. She made it sound like we were co-owners of a boutique disaster. I didn't reply. The silence made them both louder. 3 days after I left, Micah posted a story. Growth is uncomfortable. Sometimes you outgrow people who can't see your potential. A flex, a smokescreen, a prayer for validation disguised as self-help. Danielle reposted it with a heart. That was the start of their downfall, though neither of them knew it yet. Sunday morning, my phone buzzed. A notification from a mutual friend's private account. Girl, you seeing this? I opened it. Danielle had posted a photo. 2 wine glasses, captioned, "Full circle moments." Micah's hand was in the frame. I didn't feel rage, just a clean, surgical clarity. They deserved each other's noise. By noon, the story had vanished. By 2, Danielle's followers were dissecting it in real time, demanding answers. Micah panicked, posting an edit. Friends can share a drink. Stop assuming things. The comments were chaos, half accusing him of cheating, half accusing her of thirst traps. I watched from the sidelines like an anthropologist. People love drama until it mirrors them. That night, Danielle texted me. Danielle, Micah's freaking out. He says you're the one who told people we're together. Can you maybe clear it up? Lena, did you post the photo? Danielle, it was innocent. Lena, then let it be interpreted that way. I didn't hear back. By Wednesday, it escalated. Someone leaked screenshots, texts between Micah and Danielle from the weeks before we broke up. Late night, I miss how easy we were. Lena doesn't get me like you do, and you'll always be my person. They spread fast, tagged, cropped, reposted. Internet wildfire. Micah's pristine image of emotional maturity melted in real time. Danielle's followers turned on her, accusing her of being the type who calls chaos closure. Micah texted me at midnight. Micah, did you leak our messages? Me. You mean your messages? Micah, you screenshotted them, right? Be honest. Me. Honesty would have been useful 3 weeks ago. Micah, you're loving this. Me. No, I'm observing it. He stopped replying after that. But Danielle didn't. The next day, she posted a reel, a shaky video of her crying in her car. I tried to be the bigger person. I tried to stay friends with an ex and got labeled the villain. Women can have platonic relationships. Men can't handle it. Toxic masculinity is real. Hashtags, #healing journey. Mature friendships, #let women live. For a few hours, she got sympathy. Then someone commented, Girl, you texted him at 2 a.m., saying you still loved him. Another posted screenshots, new ones. Her own friends were turning on her now. Thursday evening, I stopped at a grocery store. 2 aisles over, someone was watching one of her clips on full volume. Danielle's teary voice echoed through the produce section. I stood there, listening to the irony ripen. Micah's account went private by the weekend. Danielle kept posting rebuttals, defensive, frantic, each one contradicting the last. Then came the final spark. Friday morning, Danielle uploaded a carousel titled Receipts for Truth. It included blurred texts, cropped timelines, and an anonymous message clearly from Micah. But she'd made a fatal mistake. She left his contact photo visible in one frame. His initials, his timestamp. The comments exploded. Wait, didn't he post this 2 days ago? You edited this. This doesn't match your story. By sunset, both of them had locked their profiles. I didn't post a thing. Silence is underrated as performance art. 2 days later, a friend sent me a clip from a gossip podcast. The hosts were laughing. So this local influencer tried to prove she was innocent, but basically confirmed she was texting her ex behind her boyfriend's back. Then she got caught lying about the timestamps. You can't make this up. Her name was trending. Micah's wasn't. The internet is harsher to women who lose control of a story than to men who start it. Still, it wasn't my problem anymore. I made coffee, opened my blinds, and let the light in without checking who'd posted what. For the first time in months, the air felt neutral. Then a final text. Micah. You got what you wanted. Me. Which part? Micah. Us ruined. Me. You did that yourself. Micah. You knew it'd end like this. Me. No. I just stopped pretending it wouldn't. He left me on red. That night, I opened my journal and wrote one sentence. People destroy themselves when you stop holding their mirrors steady. Then I closed it and slept dreamless. 2 weeks passed before the city stopped echoing their names. For a while, it felt like every scroll, every overheard conversation at a cafe, came with a remix of their voices. Danielle's tearful monologues, Micah's defensive quotes about growth. But noise has a half-life. Even scandal exhausts itself. By the third week, Danielle's social media was gone. Every profile wiped clean, her old selfies replaced by a single message. Taking a break to focus on healing and self-discovery. It sounded like a press release written by someone who'd never healed from anything. Micah stayed online longer, posting gym stories and half-hearted affirmations. Forgive, but don't forget. Lessons cost peace, but they buy wisdom. No one believed him anymore. The comments were dry, sarcastic emojis, recycled quotes, silence. He texted me once more. Micah, you won. Me. No, I just stopped playing. He left it on scene. One Friday evening, I was at a quiet cafe on Maple Street, the kind with soft jazz and people reading alone. I had ordered an oat latte and brought my laptop, ready to rebuild the kind of calm you don't post about. Through the window, the city looked washed clean by a late rain. For the first time, I realized I wasn't waiting for my phone to light up. There was no one left to explain myself to. Micah had become a lesson. Danielle, a mirror I no longer needed. Competence, I'd learned, isn't just about keeping things in line. It's about knowing when to leave a crooked picture hanging. Some things teach better when you don't fix them. The next morning, my coworker Mira slid into the seat across from mine at brunch. You look like someone who finally deleted a group chat, she teased. I guess I did, I said, stirring my coffee. She smiled. You're glowing. Got a new secret? No secret, I said, just quiet. She nodded, then hesitated. You saw that TikTok about Micah and the ex? I raised an eyebrow. Which one? The one where someone remixed her voice message. The I love having both of them fighting over me one. It's everywhere. I blinked. You're kidding. Mira shook her head. It's on club playlists now. She moved cities, apparently. Poetic, I said softly. Poetic? Yeah, she always wanted an audience. Mira laughed, but I didn't. The words sat heavy and final. 2 months later, I ran into Micah at the farmer's market. He looked thinner, quieter, like a man who'd learned what silence feels like when no one's clapping. He froze when he saw me. Hey, he said finally. Hey, you look good. I am, I said. He nodded, waiting for permission to linger. I didn't give it. Still with your cycling group? He asked. Yes. He smiled, brittle. Good. You always liked structure. I tilted my head. And you always liked chaos. He laughed once, a ghost of his old charm. Guess that's true. For a moment, he seemed like he might apologize or explain or rewrite what happened, but I'd stopped needing narrative closure from unreliable narrators. I should go, I said, and meant it kindly. Lena, he said as I turned, for what it's worth, I really did love you. I didn't look back. You loved attention. It just happened to wear my face for a while. Later, I sat in the park with my coffee, watching a couple feed pigeons in sync. There was no triumph in me, just stillness. The kind you earn by not touching the fire when everyone else is trying to prove they're flame-proof. I opened my notes app and typed something I didn't plan to post. The best revenge is peace that doesn't need witnesses. Then I smiled, closed it, and looked up. A man I'd met at the cycling group, Elias, was waving from the trailhead, helmet in hand. No social media presence, no curated captions, no ghosts trailing behind him. Just a real person, solid and present. I waved back. As he approached, the air shifted, not like a beginning, but like a room exhaling after someone stops talking too loud. Maybe that was the lesson. Competence isn't about control, it's about exit. And some stories only become beautiful once you stop needing them to end with applause.